Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Kings at Home Daily. From me, Goff, one of the leaders here at Kings, and it's my pleasure and privilege to take us through the next few verses in our study of the Gospel of John. First of all, I hope you're keeping well in heart and mind and body. I hope that you're keeping a song in your heart. I hope you're keeping a sense of the goodness of God in your heart as we go through these challenging days. Speaking of which, we're in chapter 6 and verse 16 of John, a challenging moment for the disciples. And so read from verse 16 down to verse 24. So here we go. When evening came, his disciples went down to the lake, where they got into a boat and set off across the lake for Capernaum. Now it was dark, and Jesus had not yet joined them. A strong wind was blowing, and the waters grew rough. When they'd rowed about 3 or 4 miles, they saw Jesus approaching the boat, walking on the water, and they were frightened. But he said to them, "It's I, don't be afraid." Then they were willing to take him into the boat, and immediately the boat reached the shore where they were heading. The next day, the crowd that had stayed on the opposite shore of the lake realized that only one boat had been there, and Jesus hadn't entered it with his disciples, but they'd gone away alone. Then some boats from Tiberias landed near the place where the people had eaten the bread after the Lord had given thanks. And once the crowd realized that neither Jesus nor his disciples were there, they got into boats and went to Capernaum in search of Jesus. Well, a big change from yesterday. The previous verses speaks of the feeding of the 5,000. A dramatic time, a wonderful time, big crowds, Jesus doing wonderful things, so much so that people want to make him king. Spectacular, wonderful moments, and yet here now in the evening, Jesus has slipped away. He often did that, slipped away to speak to his Father, to pray. He would often just be in the night or early in the morning away alone with his Father. A great little prompter for us. Hey, that's a good plan, a good thing to do. So it's a dramatic time, feeding the 5,000, Jesus doing wonderful things. There must have been a wonderful sense of joy and wow, and Jesus will follow you anywhere. But look how quickly it changes. Evening, the crowds have gone, Jesus has gone. They're on their own. By now it was dark, a strong wind was blowing, the waters were getting rough, and they were getting scared. How quickly things can change. And I think that's why this passage is here in this where it is in Scripture. The Lord wanting to help us understand. We can be so quick to lose our sense of joy and confidence in the presence of the Lord with us. Just like these dear disciples, they've just seen a wonderful miracle, feeding the 5,000. And here they are. It was dark, it was stormy, it was choppy, they were frightened. We're just like, aren't we? Aren't we just like that? We can be together with church family, having a wonderful time. The presence of the Lord is so precious, and singing and enjoying fellowship and so on and so forth together. And then a few days later, on our own, life becomes challenging, difficulties hit us, and we become fearful and afraid. But what happens? Jesus approached them. He knew where they were. Of course he knew where they were, just as he knows where you are. He didn't have to go find them. He knew just where they were, and he knew they needed reassurance. And so here we have Jesus approaching them in a quite miraculous way, walking on the water. They were frightened, but he said, "It's I. Don't be afraid." And that's precious, isn't it? perhaps even going through these strange days, feeling on your own, feeling the challenges, the pressures of life, not quite sure what's going on around you, sense of being in the dark and on your own, I want you to hear the words of Jesus to you. It is I. It's me. I'm here. Don't be afraid. Fear not. I remember reading sometime that somebody had worked out that the phrase "fear not" or equivalent appears something like, I don't know, 352 times in the Bible. In other words, enough for every day of the year. I'm not sure it's true, but certainly fear not is a very common biblical expression. It's there in the Bible so often. Why? Because fear is one of the greatest challenges, one of the greatest weapons of the enemy. We have got an enemy, you know that. We've got an enemy who wants to discourage and us to take away our joy, and fear is one of the quickest ways he can do that. Seed of fear. And you know what happens when fear touches our life? A series of what if questions pop along, don't they? What if, what if, what if? And the more we entertain those thoughts, the deeper the hole we find ourselves dropping into. So it's such an important thing for us to hear, especially when we're feeling on our own in a bit of a storm, uncertain, and you may be saying just now, Lord, where are you in this? Where are you in this pandemic? What are you up to? But he's there in the storm. He's in the storm, and he's with you wherever you are. And more than that, he says to you, it's I'm here. Fear not. And of course, what a difference that made. As soon as they took him on board, they're where they want to be. They're no longer in lost in the storm. They're where they want to be, and they have the presence of the Lord with them. So it's a well-known story. It's a simple story. It's a beautiful story, and it's a story that we perhaps will never get past needing to learn. That Jesus isn't just there in the wonderful moments when the crowds are there. He's also particularly there in the storm, in the difficult moments, and we need to learn that he sees us there, and he would speak to us there, saying, "It is I, it's me. I'm here. Don't be afraid." We used to sing a song. I'm not going to sing it because I can't even remember. It was such a long. This is a long time ago. One or two of you might remember it. It was something along the lines of, with Jesus in the vessel, we can something or other in the storm. In other words, with Jesus in our lives on a daily basis, welcoming him into our lives on a daily basis, we can walk through anything because he's with us. And I want to encourage you today that it's a great way to start every day, isn't it? Lord, I want to walk with you today. I want to know you, your presence with me today, whatever's going on. I want to know your presence with me, and I want to hear your voice saying to me, fear not. So bless you, have a good day, and be assured of the presence of the Lord with you, whatever you're walking through. God bless.